And we are live. Welcome, everybody, to the Patriots Talk Show on a Wednesday night. Thank y'all for dropping in. I know we got a lot of people already in chat. I've seen quite a few coming in, and Kevin, we'll shout them out here in a minute. I got a guest tonight, Mr. Palmetto Cats. Kevin's in the house with us tonight. Thank you for coming in with us, Kevin.
Oh, yeah. My pleasure.
So we got some announcements to announce later on in the show, but for right now, God bless you. God bless your families, and God bless America. And we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, and among these are life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness.
Amen.
Thank you, everybody, for coming in. Mr. Catfish Weekly, Lyle was in first. Rebel Duke Outdoors, Lance the Hawaiian Fisherman, Avid's in the house. Who else we got? Crappy Day Fish on. There's Mr. Creole. Watched their show the other night. That was a good show last night. I say the other night. I lose time, man. That was a good show. Good cuts of bait. Appreciate you giving me a shout out on that reverse flapper bait. That's pretty cool. It works out when you ain't getting up but small baits. You can cut that bait backwards and you get a bigger presentation.
That's right.
K&B Anglers in the house. My chats are jumping. Yours do that every once in a while?
Yeah, I don't even try to hold it down anymore. I just go with it.
Yeah. There's Brian B's in the house. There's Kelly the Bullet. Kelly, I'll give you a call tomorrow. Sorry I missed your call. There's Muskrats in the house. Great show last night, guys. Whisker Dreams. It's all mine. I don't know why that does that. It jumps like crazy. LG Bass. There's Big Mike. Team Wampus Cats in the house. Double Hook Angling. I think what it is, my computer's wanting to do an update, and I keep telling it no for right now. It keeps trying to interrupt me. So that's everybody for right now. So
you got Fishing with Big Mike. I saw.
There he is.
You got Double Hook Angling.
Okay, I missed that one.
I think Lance Bakuga. I don't know if you said that one or not.
Yep. There's Maurice Cason's in the house with us tonight. Yeah. Maurice is one of the old time, been in here for a long time with us.
Yeah, he's always Maurice. As soon as I came in the community, Maurice has been welcoming and supportive since day one.
There's Chad and Fields and Water. Yeah, and we got quite a few in here. K&B's been out here, been supportive of me since the very first show, and I appreciate it. Everybody that's come in and supported us. And I know, Kevin, you've had support through yours. And
absolutely.
It means a lot. And YouTube is growing like crazy. We're seeing more and more catfishermen coming on every day. More live shows, more live feeds, people out fishing. You know, if you want to watch fishing, there's plenty of it to watch.
Well, I remember Lyle saying he said on a few shows, but he said that one day there's going to be something to watch on catfishing every time of the day, every day of the week. And I think we're almost there.
Yeah,
he predicted it, and here we go.
Yeah, because, I remember at the time, really, they were, but me and Dieter was the only ones really going live fishing.
And that was even before me.
Fishing. Yeah, so, but yeah, it's YouTube and catfishing has come a long ways. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of shows coming up. There's a lot of new shows. There's a lot of old shows still hanging out. Catfish Weekly is always going to be there. As far as I'm concerned, I'll always watch Catfish Weekly and be there in support, because I guess that is where it all gets started as far as the YouTube thing. I mean, we had other YouTubers making videos, right, but as far as bringing information to people, that was some of the first. And that's what I've been stuck on here lately, is going back and started watching the very first show of Catfish Weekly and catching up.
It looks so different, doesn't it?
It does.
It's so different. Like, it's just a different feel.
Well, I mean, people don't really realize the trouble that Lyle and I was having to go through to bring guests in using that Google Hangouts. Oh, Lord. There's my buddy Paul Sturwell. Now, if y'all want to check out a guy on Facebook that wears the flatheads out using my floats, go check him out. It's amazing. But yeah, the support has been amazing. It's a lot of people you become family and you lifelong friends. A lot of them are just people in chat, but I like to think of them more than that because if they come back every week, then they are showing you support.
True.
They're taking time out of their day to say, "Hey, we're here to support you, whatever you're doing." So I want to give everybody thanks for that.
Yeah, I remember like KMB, PD, Kentucky Catman, and Big Nasty. Big Nasty doesn't really do YouTube much anymore, but those guys kind of found me on YouTube and said, "Have you ever heard of Catfish Weekly and Patriot Catfishers of America?" I said, "Who? What now?" And then I was like, "People go live, talk about catfishing. This is awesome."
Yeah.
So I came in there, and I remember for the first year that I did YouTube, I didn't miss any shows. Like I sucked it all in. Me and Anna would put it up on the big screen. We'd both be in chat and just sucking in everything because I was new to tournament catfishing, or not tournament, trophy catfishing.
Trophy catfish, yeah.
Everything I caught was like whatever bites the hook, we're gonna eat it. And so I was like, wow, people throw fish back. Number one, people use floats to catch catfish. So we ate it up, and now there's, like you said, there's so many more that you guys have inspired, myself included, that are doing it.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing that when I talked with Lyle when I first started going live and stuff, he gave me a lot of insight on how to do it, how to look at things. There's P&B Catfishing. There's my gold mining buddy Freddie's Outdoor. There's Pontoon Jody. There's Junior Proctor's in here tonight. He's probably still laying there with his grandbaby on his chest. He fell asleep on him when I talked to him earlier.
Oh yeah,
a little 6-month-old is sleeping
Sean
away.
T.
Yeah, Sean T's in the house, but that's something I guess that I never anticipated when I first got into YouTube. I just planned on making videos, so if something ever happened to me, my grandbabies could go back and watch Pawpaw fishing. And it went along, and I was watching Catfish Weekly, and I was watching Sarah. Sarah had a great show. She had a great thing going, and life changed, and she had to take care of her and her family, and I totally understand that. So I waited around hoping that Dieter or somebody else would have started up a show, and it never did take place. So I said, what the heck? Let's do this. And I've done a lot of DIY sitting down there. There's Nina's in the house tonight. Sat down in the carport doing DIYs while I was live, talking, having fun, and building an audience. That's something that if you knew and people's wanting to start shows or whatever, get to know your audience. Get to know what they're looking for, what they want to learn, because we're getting new people in every day, Kevin. And we still want to make sure that I know a lot of people that's experienced, been in here for a long time. They've heard, catch, photo, and release. But these new people, first times coming in, might not have ever heard that. So it's up to us to try to instill the right words, the right things to them so they can carry it on and teach somebody else.
And it totally worked because, like I said, and then when I started YouTube, my dad said, "You want to do what? You want to let what go?" It never crossed my mind to let a catfish go, or any fish for that matter. Because I caught it, I put in the work to get it, I'm gonna eat it.
Right.
So you guys, you and everybody taught me CPR. And then, when I started my YouTube channel, I wasn't teaching nobody nothing. And I made a point to tell people that. I said, this is just me learning, and you can come along with the ride. From watching you guys and listening, and now I feel like anyway, people may disagree, that I'm at a point where I can add to the conversation now. Like I've learned a lot and done my own research, and it's because of shows like this and watching videos. So it does make a big difference. And you're right, you never know who's going to come in that never even considered letting the fish go.
Right. Yeah, exactly right. Plus, we hear every day. Sorry about that. I had a gnat or something fly in my eye. We hear every day people griping about the regulations ain't being changed, or Kentucky with the pay lakes. We've got a few around here, but not many. There's big slim 91s in here with us. But that next person watching your video might be the son of a prominent person that can make those changes. So I always look at it as that next person listening to you, watching you, is that person that could change the rules and regulations that's affecting your world today.
Very true.
So that goes a long way, guys. So
what's that called? 10 degrees of separation or something? There's some kind of saying that goes along with that.
Yeah, and I mean, because wife taught me something a long time ago. I'm a little bit of a hothead, or I was. I've got milder as with older age, I guess. But learn to pick your battles. If you go in screaming, raising Cain, all it is all they hear is wah, 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 wah.
Yeah, you and Lyle talked about that on the show not too long ago.
Yeah. So when you pick them battles right, it'll get a lot of stuff done. It's easy to complain, but harder to change those things that you want to change if all do complain. You got that right, KB. You got that right. So where do you see you going from here on out as far as YouTube?
Well, I never thought it would come this far. I'm just gonna be straight up, and I've said it once, and I'm gonna continue to say it. I feel continually blessed every day that little subscriber number goes up, and those view numbers go up. I never thought it would be that way. Never intended to make money on YouTube to begin with. Right. Not that I make any now, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But at least it helps offset a little bit of the gas money. But I'm almost to 10,000 subscribers, and I cannot believe that. It's exciting. Yeah, it's exciting, and it's just slowly getting there. So I took a break from YouTube, as we talked about, and I said on my my live stream right after CatCon, and for various reasons, I just needed a break. I got burnout. Yep. And I encourage anyone, if you get burnt out or you start not liking it, then do something else or scale back or whatever. And since I've come back a few weeks ago, now I continued videos, right. But I came back doing the live stream stuff because I have a renewed spirit about it, and I'm no longer looking at it as a negative thing. I'm looking at it as my opportunity to add positivity to the community.
Right.
And I think trying to be creative and just having smiling and talking about fun things and just not worrying about all the negative people and stuff. And we got enough of that in the news. So I see myself continuing to do videos, live stream fishing, getting back into the three major things that I was doing: live stream fishing, doing shows live. We had Tackle Bandit on Sunday night. It was awesome. And then doing some videos. So I just want to keep plugging away. Every once in a while I get asked if I ever want to do YouTube as a full-time job. And my answer is no, absolutely not, because I have a retirement plan at my shops.
There you go. And I mean, there's a few more people. Kevin Fish is coming in. Justin Fish and Fetish is coming in.
David Martin.
There's Keith D.O.C. Reed. There's David Martin. Dale Hayslip's come in. A lot of great people, a lot of great supporters. Yeah, it takes a lot of work and dedication. And, well, it's like anything. If you want to look at YouTube as a business, you need to treat it as such. What's up, Danny Stone? Or you're not going to get to where you think you should be. If you ain't willing to put in the work, it's not going to take place. It really not. I don't care how big a fish you catch, how many big fish you catch. If you're not willing to put in the work to promote to promote yourself, because you are the product. When it comes to YouTube, you are the product. And until you look at it as such, you're not going to get to where you think you need to be. And I know that's some hard words for some people to swallow, but it takes dedication, it takes hard work, just like doing a show every week. That takes dedication.
Yep.
Well, Paul, you be careful, buddy, out there on the road. Thank you for bringing our products to us. Paul's a truck driver, so thank you for coming in, buddy. Stay safe, and we look forward to seeing that next big flathead on that float. Yeah, and I mean, that's something that I really, when I first started live shows, Kevin, I wasn't thinking about the dedication part of actually doing it. But then when you start bringing guests in, you need to know about that guest. You need to know who he is or she, how they fish, and what they have to add to the catfish community in order to get your questioning out right, so you ain't sitting there going,
and I never really realized how hard it was to do what you and Lyle and you and Lyle at the time, and questioning people. And once they get finished talking, you have to fill in the space.
Yeah.
And if you're both sitting there not filling in space, then it gets kind of awkward.
Well,
so
you
have to be able to feed off of each other, go back and forth. And I think there's an art to it.
Well, I've had shows where I didn't have a guest and I really didn't have a plan for the show. So I got up here and started fumbling. If you'll watch your numbers drop. People don't want to watch you sitting there fumbling and playing with your fingers. They really don't. Mm-hmm. And I don't blame them, because I don't either. So, if any of you in here and thinking about doing live shows or whatever, there's a little bit of entertainment factor that comes along with that. And I think that, along the way, I've lost a little bit of that. And it'll be back one day. But I'm trying to see what time it is. This ain't going by slow.
You knew it was going to go by slow.
I knew it. So, what's your next fishing trip going to be like?
Well, I'm hoping to go either Friday or Saturday night. Like I said, I'm getting back into the live stream fishing. Now that I'm starting back to work, the only days I have to fish are pretty much Saturday.
Right.
And we all know it's the worst day to fish, especially when it's warm outside. So, until the pleasure boaters stop going out and the bass tournaments keep happening every Saturday morning, I either got to fish at night or I have to go fishing so early and get back early. But yeah, I'm probably going to go either Friday night or Saturday night and, do some night fishing in the river. I've really got into fishing the river. Been messing around a lot with spot lock, and it just makes it so much easier to think about moving a spot. Because when you got to pull an anchor, you sit there and you think about it for an extra 30 minutes. Do I really want to pull this anchor?
Yeah.
Especially when you're back by yourself.
Yeah, that's why a lot of times I sat on spots a lot longer than I probably should have.
Yeah. Oh man, I got to pull it with spot lock. You reel in the lines and hit that button, and then you're on your way to the next one. And
do you have problems with your boat moving around a little bit with the spot lock?
Well, so I have a small drift sock. So if the only time I have a problem is when the wind's blowing opposite the current or side to side. So I'll put a little drift sock out back. The main problem I have is that I have a huge boat, and although I have a powerful trolling motor, 24 volt, if that current's rolling, it's not holding it. And so it'll sit there and it'll run on, 10 the whole time, and it'll get hot. I have to rewire my trolling motor. I took Fracture Fix fishing a couple weeks ago. He said, yeah, you got to change them wires out. They're too small from the factory.
Yeah.
So I got to do that. But that's it. Just that's the only struggle I have with the actual method is, the trolling motor not hanging on too much.
Yeah, well, that's what Junior was talking about. He uses anchor poles down there in the Cooper River.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah. If you're anchoring like in the rice field or up close to the bank and throwing out into the channel, I have anchor poles too.
Right.
But where I've been fishing is off the ledge in the channel,
Oh,
so it'll
okay.
start off at like 14 feet and it'll drop down to 20. And
Yeah.
I've been fishing. I've been learning how to use my side imaging a lot. I bought it and I said I gotta learn it. So
Yeah.
I've been trying to read that, trying to slow down and really scan the river and do what you guys have taught me to do. And Epic, if he ever catches a live that I'm fishing, did you mark any fish in that spot? Why'd you pick this spot? And then I have to have an answer.
Yeah.
Or else he'll school me in the chat.
There's Mr. Morello's in the house. How do your batteries do in your trolling motor when you're on spot lock? I imagine it drains them pretty fast, don't it?
It actually doesn't. Like, I got really, when they sold me that boat, they put 2 high quality batteries in there. But the problem is the batteries are so good and the wires apparently too small that it'll overheat in a heartbeat. I burned out a plug already.
Really?
Yeah, it burnt the wire from the back end of the plug off. And it's
you got to get some heavier wire.
Yeah. I was recommended to get 8 gauge, but I don't think it would go quite that big. I think I'll do probably 10 gauge. I think I got 14 right now.
Well, you can tell you a little secret.
What's that?
Go to your welding supply and get you 2 welding cables.
2 welding cables?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the only thing about them, they're not tinned. Just do your solder connections. But your welding cable, what it is, it's a lot finer filament. It can carry a lot more current than another wire of the same size.
Okay.
Without heating them up.
Now, I'll definitely check into that. Because once I do it, I don't want to do it again.
Right. Right.
I've already, me and Catfish Bill were playing. He came over Christmas Eve morning, and me and him changed that plug. God bless him. But we had to pull them batteries, them 80-pound batteries out of that little tank that was like this big, and knocked our knuckles, bloody knuckles, everything. But we changed it. And I don't want to do it no more after that.
Yeah. Jeff Manning taught me that trick. That's what he does to his boats. And if that man will use them on his boats, then hey, that's good enough for me.
Yeah, Jeff knows what he's doing, no doubt.
Yeah, Jeff knows what he's doing. Because I mean, if you think about it, welding, that's a lot of current, a lot of amperage.
Ricky from Whisker Dream said he used a pair of jumper cables to wire his trolling motor. That's another good idea.
Yeah.
My wife's in the chat. She's in there eating dinner.
Yeah, Miss Anna. Hey, Miss Anna. Yeah, I mean, if you like me on my pontoon, my batteries is all the way at the back. My trolling motor's all the way at the front. And that's a 21-foot boat. That's a long run to make.
Mm-hmm.
That's you gotta have
a heavy boat to hold too.
Say what?
That's a heavy boat to hold too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's if I'd ever finish that tri-hull up, that'd be even more. When you're sitting there, you got even more water pulling on your boat. But
so let me ask you something about a tri-hull. Now, do you recommend if somebody, like, let's say if I were to add a pontoon, a center tune to my boat, like a real one, not one of them plastic ones, but one that goes all the way back and it has a transom for the motor.
Right.
Is that 90 horse I got on there going to make any difference?
You'll actually do better.
So it'll plane off better and it'll.
Yeah, because if you decide to put a third tune, what I would recommend, and I know it sounds screwed up, but me and Wampus Cat has done our research. You would be amazed at his boat. He's actually got 23-inch pontoons, but his center tune is 27 inches.
Yeah, the center one's always bigger.
Yeah, make sure you go with a bigger one and make sure it sets lower than your 2 outside tunes. And does yours have the lifting straights on them?
No.
So your pontoon don't have no lifting straights. All right.
No, I got the value model.
Well, if you decide to put a third tune on it, give me a call if you make that decision. I got a place that you could probably find you a tuna a lot cheaper than anywhere else. But make sure you put lifting straights on that center tune, because once you get up on plane, you're only running on that center tune. So when you want to make a turn, if you got lifting straights on your outside, it's going to fight you. Instead of getting that lift and pull like you should, it's going to try to turn you flat.
Right. That makes sense.
So them lifting straights will get you right up. It's amazing. I can't wait till Justin gets his up. He's going to put a 200 or 225 on his. It's 24-footer though. But
I talked to a few people about it, and they didn't mention the lifting straights. But now that you mention it, I've seen them on all the factory built tri-tunes.
Right.
But somebody told me that it's not going to make any difference with the 90 on it. And I said it's got to. It lifts it farther up out the water. There's less resistance.
You're going to have to play with your prop. You're going to have to do a little prop play, and it's going to sound so messed up. Justin went and seen a prop guy.
Yeah,
and this is before he added his third tune, and that guy was telling him, and Justin called me, and I said, man, that just don't sound right. That sounds backwards. That just don't sound right. It like it woke his boat up. It changed the whole way of that boat run. It was amazing just by changing and putting the right prop for what he was doing. So yeah, what is yours? A 20 foot, 24, what?
22.
22. 90, you're gonna be pushing more weight, so you're gonna have to play with the prop. Is it a long shaft motor?
No, I think it's short shaft.
Okay, then if you decide that, then you're gonna have to make sure that you get an extension that puts that motor a good bit back behind your other tunes, because if you don't, then you get cavitation.
Yeah. I already have a little bit of cavitation now. Like if the water's rough, because it lifts it. It rocks on the waves like that.
Right.
But I don't know. That's just I can't afford it right now anyway. But I was just thinking, people ask me sometimes in the live streams, like, what are you going to do next to the boat? Because every year I try to do something to it.
Right.
I got the enclosure on last winter.
Right.
And just thinking about stuff like that, how can I improve it and make it better? I know the center tune would make it more stable. Not that it's unstable, but
right. Oh yeah, it'll help you like when you nosed it into the water that time. It would help prevent that.
I did that again. I think it was in June, and Bill was on the boat with me, and I dunked it, and he about had a heart attack. And I'm sitting there laughing at him because I've been through it before.
Yeah, and that's
the
best.
Look on his face was total terror.
It's best to keep it hammered and drive through it. That's all you can really do.
The water came halfway up the deck, turned the coolers upside down, the rods are going everywhere, and he's like, oh.
And see, if you decide to go with a third tune, it'll help prevent a lot of that.
Yeah, it will. Yeah.
And they've got a sport tune it's a partial tune that you mount underneath the float. Yep. And that's what Justin first had under his boat. But you've been down there at Santee, the way the wind whoops up, a tune can actually get scary because that wind can actually pull underneath that boat and lift that boat.
Yeah.
Don't believe me, ask Wampus Cat. He had his come up out of the water.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think the last casualties on the lake with a pontoon was it was actually more of a houseboat,
right?
Like a custom rig, and it flipped it over. The wind and waves flipped it over, and unfortunately, a guy and his two dogs passed away. But they were stuck in that little house. But yeah, you're not gonna sink it, but you flip it over.
Yeah, they got caught. The storm come up on them, and he come out of a cove, hammered down. He's got a 150 on his, and when he come and hit that lake, the big lake wide open, he had a headwind, and when that headwind hit him, it filled underneath his boat up like a sail, and he said he felt that whole boat come up.
Oh man.
He said all he could do is let it off just enough to get it to come back down, but it was lightning popping everywhere. And he didn't want to slow down, but yet he didn't want that thing to rise up on him again either. So
I had a John boat do that to me one time. I had a 14-foot aluminum John boat, and I had the battery in the back, the gas tank in the middle, and a 9.9. Well, I upgraded to a 15 horse, and I was cruising, man, just cruising across. I was probably only doing like 15 miles an hour, but it felt fast.
Yeah.
And that wind kicked up, and that front end came up, and all I saw was the middle of the boat.
Yeah.
And I just let go. That was enough for me.
Yep.
So I can't imagine in a pontoon boat that thing lifting up like that.
That was the first thing I done with my John boat was I had that to happen years and years ago. So first thing I done was when they come out was put one of those whale tails on my daggum motor. Yeah. And that helped keep that front end down on that John boat.
I didn't know what that was then, so I just I put my batteries in my gas tank up front and just ran longer wires to the back.
Yeah. But, like with a pontoon, you really need that pontoon to run like that. You don't want that pontoon to run flat.
Oh, no.
Because that's even more drag on your tunes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I trim it up just like people trim up any other boat. Now, you don't get that major lift, but you can feel it.
Yeah.
My boat, top speed unloaded with me is like 25 miles an hour. So we're not breaking any speed records.
Oh no. And that's like Donna's that little 20-footer that I fish off of. It has a little old 40 horse on there. Now I can put 10 people on that boat, and that little old Evinrude will push that boat at 16. It'll push that boat at 16 with it empty. So there's really no change. So that motor, it's one of those little E-Techs, and that thing sips the gas. Good little old motor. I ain't gonna complain if it lay down tomorrow. I wouldn't complain one bit. I hope it don't, but
you have to make a lot more floats if it did go down.
I'd set that 150 over on it.
Oh, okay.
I got that 150 Yamaha sitting on that other one. No, I wouldn't put that 150 on that little old light boat of Donna's. No, that'd be a freaking death trap.
We got a guy down here. He does a lot of fishing tournaments. His name's Chucky Overy, and he won't mind me talking about it. But I think he put a 250 on a 14-foot little center console boat, and people keep telling, man, you're gonna kill yourself. I think he's doing like 50 miles an hour at half throttle.
That's crazy. I think the fastest I've been on the water is about 68 mile an hour. That's when them new Rangers come out, and they was putting the 150 on the Rangers and stuff, bass fishing. And I was down there bank fishing at South Point, and done caught a bunch of bass, and old guy was watching me. He said, "Hey, man, you pretty good. You want to come fish with me a little bit?" He said, "I'm getting ready. Got a tournament this weekend. I want to do a little pre-fishing." I said, "Yeah, I'll jump on the boat." Well, I guess he wanted to show his boat off, and we come out from there, and he hammered down, and I looked over doing 68. I said, "Look, one of us is getting ready to go swimming. I can't catch fish at 68 mile an hour, and you can't swim fast enough to catch back up if I throw you off this freaking boat. Now, you need to slow down." That was, when you're going on the water and you can't see where you're going because the tears coming out of your eyes, time to slow down a little bit.
My dad used to run with a special crowd, and he's got still one of his friends today, but he had one of them bass boats with the hot foot on it.
Yep.
And he wanted to take me for a ride, and I'm okay, cool. Maybe I'm 9 or 10 pounds, but I've always been a husky child.
Right.
So I was a good little bit of weight. And he put me in that side seat, and we going down the river. I don't even know how. I'm going to guess 60, 70 miles an hour. And he said, "Hang on." I'm a kid. I just grabbed the side of the boat. Okay. Not thinking. And he jacked that wheel to the left. Guess where I went? Into his lap at 70 miles an hour. Knocked his glasses off, almost knocked him out. Thankfully, the boat just spun out, and that was it. But, man, never again. I don't need to go that fast on the water.
Yeah, and you being down there at Santee, you've been up there in the dead forest. Oh. And people don't realize you can see stumps that are V-shaped. that people come through there, and we've been up in there fishing, Kevin, and I've watched them guys in them bass boats just woo through there. And I thought, no, you crazy. You crazy.
I'm trying to think of the guy's name. It's
The
one of
grasshopper.
those my mind just went blank. What are the three guys? Roland Martin, that's who it was. Roland Martin, I met the guy, Casey Nelms, who invented the Santee Cooper rig, and I got a chance to hang out with him and Ray Ferguson, and we filmed and talked about how he invented it all day. And he was telling stories about Roland Martin coming down to Santee Cooper for bass tournaments and filming stuff too.
Yeah.
Well, Casey was kind of the guy that, he would go to get fish for his show, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And so he'd get the fish from Casey, and then they do some camera work, and all of a sudden we hooked up.
Yeah.
But he told me that Roland came down for a big bass tournament, BASS, I guess, back in the day, and Roland went through those trees in that forest and knocked the transom off the boat.
Yeah.
And he went back, and obviously he survived it, and he went, and crew got him in the truck. They went and bought another boat and came down and finished the tournament.
Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't get hurt real bad during that. I remember that time. I didn't get to fish that tournament back then, but there's Brian Banks. He just got a batch of my floats today. And Chucky Morgan.
Jack.
Yeah, appreciate y'all coming in. Yeah, I think he got hurt. I don't think he got hurt enough to knock him out of the tournament, but I'm pretty sure he got hurt on that tournament because I'm still a Gold Life member of BASS, but BASS don't even exist no more.
No.
So I got to fish him. I just couldn't. Those guys had so much sponsorship and money that you really, unless you come into it with a lot of money and sponsorship, you can't run with them. Now, you might can fish against them, but it's hard to run with them if they got them holes. But I've never understood those long runs. I mean, I could turn around and just drop my trolling motor down and catch a bass right there off the dock we just left from.
My dad and I laugh at. There's a guy on the river that I call Roland Martin because he's got white hair and about the same skin tone, and he comes running through the rice fields like that all the time. And he'll come like within 50 yards of you. You sitting there anchored up. He don't care. But they'll run. I've seen him pass me 3 times. The funniest thing to me, and they have to realize this, but you'll be sitting there on anchor, and on my river, it's like it's a bass mecca. So you'll see one guy come in, fish the bank, fish the lily pads, put the rod away, go. 10 seconds later, another one will come fish the same bank. Go, and then another. It's like a cycle, and my dad and I just sit there and chuckle at him. It's like, man, that's like the 4th guy has fished that same spot, and you want to go. There's nothing there. Somebody's already hit it,
but they don't make but 1 or 2 casts, and then they're gone.
Yeah,
and
they're hitting that structure like we do. You know.
Oh yeah. But I would rather them come by me hammered down than I had for them to just come by cruising. Bust by me, lot less weight. You come by this cruising, then you're gonna rock me off my anchor, and that's what I get mad about.
So for us, the bass boats only bother us when they're on trolling motor,
right?
Because they'll come troll right through and get your lines. And then the center consoles are the one that rock you. $80,000, center console boats, they'll come through there, and they're. Again, it's everybody's river. They have every right to be there. Right. But, they're listening to music and just got it like quarter throttle, having a good time. And these waves come, you're like, hang on, guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bill Jack said that Roland did it twice that week. I didn't know that.
I didn't either. Like Gaston County Police Department over here on Lake Wiley, their boat is ungodly. It's just huge. It's heavy. It's so heavy they can't even get it up on trim. And when they come by you, buddy, it's like those wake boats. It rocks the crap out of you and really makes it tough. And it even makes it tough on people pulling planer boards or dragging baits.
Yeah, I won't do that in the river. You know, I don't know if you saw the little short I put out, but a couple weekends ago, I experienced my first mud motor incident.
Ooh.
I was sitting, me and a couple guys were sitting there in the main, not in the main channel, but off the main channel. We were right behind a point with trees. Now we were out of the traffic zone, but we were tossed into where the fish enter and exit the rice field. We figured they'd be feeding,
Right.
and then we heard them coming. We thought they were a big cigarette boat or something, but it was six engine mud motor engines, little John boats with mud motors on them. Two of
Oh,
them came by, missed us. Two of them came by, missed us. And the third guy decided to cut across the corner, and he came out. You should have seen his face when he saw us sitting there. I had all the rods out under the black light, and I said, "Here we go." And he grabbed the line and all up. He got every bit of 50 yards of mono and a demon dragon and a hook in that prop. And he stopped, he took it out, and then just kept going. Like, didn't say, "My bad, guys." It was an accident.
yeah.
Like, nothing, just kept going. And I was like, "Geez, man."
Yeah.
Just
I
say,
mean,
"Hey,
I know
dude,
that.
sorry."
Yeah, that's it. That's it in a nutshell. Just be polite about it. If you messed up, you messed up, man. Just own it and move on.
I mean, yeah, I was upset, but I knew it was an accident.
Yeah.
Like, you wouldn't have went in front of me if you knew I was there. But just say, you don't even got to come over. Just say, "Hey, guys, I really apologize.
Yeah.
Hope everything's all right.
Yeah.
See you later."
Here's your 20 for your line.
Right. Yeah. Now you're pushing it.
Yeah. But yeah, them guys down there in them mud boats, they run up in some daggum stuff that, but they find those duck ponds and stuff back in the back.
Mm.
And that, if you remember about a year ago, I called a guy out that was bow hunting down at Santee. I called him out and on Facebook, I think it was. And he messaged me and we sat and talked. I was wrong, and I'll admit I was wrong. I'm a man. I mean, I ain't always right, and I'll admit it. He fished for food. He wasn't one of those that went out and wasted fish. Whatever he shot, he ate. But I got to learn a little bit from him, and I started watching some of those videos. Guys, you can learn a lot from something besides fishing videos.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Just like these people that noodlers. I don't agree for them noodling when the fish are on beds. I think it ought to be outlawed because not all those fish will go back. Some of them will, some of them won't.
Mm-hmm.
And you think if the ones that don't go back, if it's a 40-pound fish, that's 100,000 eggs that's just going to get eaten by brim. And a lot of times they don't go back because if they're anywhere near bait fish, they ain't used on going back anyway because the eggs is going to eat time you release that fish back. Mm-hmm. So I don't agree with that. But at the same time, they can teach you where some killer fishing spots are.
Yeah, I wish these guys would have told me where the fish were that night. But most of the guys that have the mud motors that I've seen are, they have them, a lot with the LEDs and the big sound systems in them, and they're partying. I did it. I did my fair share too. But the guys that are serious about fishing, they don't run across the rice fields like that. They don't do all that stuff. But yeah, they again, I find a hard time, saying, you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that in the river and public. I mean, I just wish they would learn some courtesy. That's all.
There you go.
Just if I'm fishing right here and you're bass fishing the bank, and a lot of guys will, they'll say, "Hey, can I fish through?" And if you don't want them to, you just say, "Would you mind fishing around?" No problem. And they go around you, and then they keep fishing the bank. But most times I'm not that close to the bank, and they want that really shallow water. Right. And I'll say, "Yeah, fish on through, man. Thanks for asking. No big deal."
Oh yeah. And that's it. Common courtesy will go a long ways in the fishing world, but not all of them's like that. And the night I caught my biggest flathead, I had another catfisherman with his boat lit up, And I knew it was a catfisherman because he had his rod rack across the back. It wasn't a crappie fisherman. He come right through, poking along, and run between me and the bank. And they wasn't but 30 foot of bank. I mean, between me and the bank. I had baits on that bank. I had to reel my stuff in. And that was one of the times I wished I would have had braid, because I would have free spooled every one of my reels and let that prop eat every bit of that braid up.
And
But
that sucks too.
But he seen I had my boat lit up. I even bright lighted him. He didn't care. So he was rude. So it ain't just in the Bass family, guys and gals.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
that's why I try not to lump people into one thing just for that reason. You know, it's tough. It's, you know, there's a lot of, and especially in the wintertime, that's when you get the real courteous guys, because those are the local guys. You know, they're out there all the time, just like me. And that, you know, they'll be kind and everything. Like your description of the catfisherman made me chuckle, because you can identify a catfisherman much like you identify a big buck in the woods. They got that rack on the back with the rods hanging out.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody
they ain't stealthy about it. They ain't no stealth about it.
No, and I do the same thing. I got the rods hanging out the back. You know what I'm going for. A lot of them, you'll hear them pass in the river, and they'll go, "Man, he means business, doesn't he?" They'll ride by, or they'll see the net, and I'm like, "God, what you planning on netting with that?" And I said, "I hope the state record."
You daggum right. That's it in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Always be prepared for that fish.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sure those ones that accidentally catch in world records or state records that's fishing off a dock never thought that they was going to hook into something like that.
Yeah. There's Whisker Pig, Mark from Whisker Pig.
There he is. What was it? Last year, that guy from North Carolina caught that one that broke the state record. Then it got broke again in a couple months, but he was fishing off a pier and caught that big old fish for the North Carolina state record. And I'm sure he wasn't as anticipating 100+ pound fish.
Wasn't that Zach Royce?
No, Zach broke it twice. This guy was this is after Zach. That thing's done been broke 4 times since Zach.
Yeah. Zach broke it within 24 hours twice.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Right,
that was nuts.
I think this one broke it on the Roanoke River.
Oh, okay.
So.
And then it's done been broke again. It was broke.
Yeah, probably once or twice since then. Yeah, North Carolina is some of these lakes are getting turned on. That's just like Wiley. You know, when I first got into it, yeah, you could catch a flathead, but it wasn't on a regular basis. But you can probably go down there now and catch them on a regular basis. Good flatheads.
Well, shoot, you saw at your tournament. You know, Chad and D came down there, never fished the water before.
Yep.
And they drugged that humper, sat on that hump or whatever, and they caught a nice flathead off that.
Yep. So, and I mean, there's a Rocky Baker on the Roanoke.
That's the guy that just broke
27. Yep. But yeah, I mean, but that's I forget. Is it Chad that's coming up with that tournament? That's or is it? I done got confused. Is it Roger or Chad?
Roger's got the one with no electronics. Roger.
That's it. Yeah. That's going to be a fun tournament to watch, because not only they can't use electronics, they got on fish on water they hadn't fished.
That's right. That's a big challenge.
Yeah. So even though it might be a good lake, you got to take all those experiences that you gathered in your life of fishing, and you got to sit down. There's Carolina Catfish. What's going on, buddy?
Two stands.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, he
gather all that information up to try to help you do what you got to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'd be tough. I just thought about this the other day when I was fishing the lake last Friday night. Actually, you know, most of the stuff that we fish in the lake is underwater.
Yeah.
Like you can't see a tree or a ledge or something on the bank or whatever, and you could, like you said, you could be riding and then it's 4 foot deep. You know, you can't see those little fingers and everything
Yep.
leading into those, those shallow areas. So fishing that would be tough. Fishing that lake without a graph would almost be impossible unless you're dragging baits. But even then, you got to watch out.
Yeah. I mean, that's where if you're going to be dragging baits, you want to find the river channel and either drag in the channel or on top of the channel or stuff like that.
But if you didn't have a graph,
well, they can use
yeah.
navionics on their phone.
Oh, they can.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I think they can use navionics on their phone. That's all.
Oh, you're good then. You're good.
Yeah. So if you can find the river channels, or you can see that you got a long flat that you can drag without no worries. I mean, you still got to worry about running into a log or a stump or something like that, but you're dragging bait, so you ain't really going that fast.
Yeah.
That's
you're not marking fish, and you're not marking underwater structure and stuff like that. You just gotta go with what the National Geological Survey or whoever makes that thing.
Yeah. And not all of them are the depths are right.
No, they're
I
not.
found that out on Wally. It says it's 35 foot, but it didn't tell you that there's 12 foot of a mussel bed right there.
Nope. And Dieter Melhorn let me ride right up in it. Didn't say nothing. He's dead to me. But luckily, he did end up throwing up his hand or something, and Squirrel was in the front of the boat. He goes, "Hey, Bo, I can see the ground." So I shut the motor off and trimmed it up. And thankfully, we were able to get out of there. Nobody got to had to pull us out.
When I got back into catfishing, I made my first run back there because I used to do a lot of fishing back there. When Wiley had a lot of white bass in there, man, we could go back there and wire the white bass out, largemouth, whatever. That's just a good fishing hole. But that whole place, see, back when I fished it years ago, that island as you was going up in there wasn't there.
Farther back. Yeah, that's what I was told.
And I come hammering down through there, and I did. Next thing I know, the water was getting muddy around the back of my boat. I was man, trim up. And dang, I had to look down and pull up navionics and make sure, try to find that as a little narrow spot. And if you don't get in it, you're stuck. And I was by myself on a Tuesday evening. There wasn't nobody around. I was going to have to make phone calls. I know.
Yeah, we saw it when we were coming out of there. Because now I believe it's like a peninsula. And you can either go on one side or the other, if I remember correctly.
Well, no, you can't go around that backside because that's the way I had started.
Oh.
And that channel's closed off. And I marked the front of that boat up.
Yeah, so Dieter, when we got out, he said, "No, you can't. You got to go around me." Because he was fishing off the ledge of that.
Right.
It looked like he was just fishing in the middle of a finger, but he said, "No, you got to go all the way around." And actually, I think JR and Richard were sitting up against that bank on the other side of it, which is why we tried not to go. I didn't want to disturb them.
But that's not the only place you can run is right up on that bank down through there.
We ended up sneaking past them, and when we was coming out, there was a tritune ran right up on it. And we kind of looked at each other, me and Squirrel and little Robbie are like, yeah, we can't pull them out. I'm not getting up in there and risking that. Yeah. So thankfully, I think they had to call Ceto.
Yeah.
Or some tow company to tow them out. I bet that was expensive.
Yeah, I mean, but their boat is set up. It's like a little what do they call them? Barge movers. You know what I'm talking about.
A tug.
Tugs. Like a tug. But they got a big giant impeller and a lot of horsepower. So yeah, they can move it. So well, Kevin, before people start running off, let's go ahead and do what we gotta do.
All right.
Well, guys and gals, wanted to have a good show with you tonight. But I have an announcement, and I should have announced that I was going to mention something at the end of the show. Palmetto Cats will be taking over Wednesday night and his show. Patriot James is getting ready to take a break for a while. I got a lot of family things going on, a lot of stuff going on in my life, and I need to take a break. I've loved each and every one of you. Loved to have y'all support. It's been a great ride. I'm not gone forever. Look for pop-up lives here and there. Guest on some of the shows, hopefully. I know Palmetto will have me back on. I got some other stuff with the floats, and we'll keep going. So, but I do got to take a break. It's been going on right now almost 4 years. I've had a blast. I had a lot of guests in. A lot of fun with each and every one of you. And Kevin, I think you'll do a good job, and I appreciate you stepping up.
Yeah, and like I said, you had first said that you were just gonna be done, and I said no, don't do that. Take a break. Take a
Yeah.
break because that break did my heart good and my soul good. I got away from negativity and the other thing, the grind. And
Right.
to everybody that's listening, if James ever wants to come back on Wednesday nights, this is his spot. 8 o'clock
Thank you.
Wednesday night. This is Patriot James' spot, and I'm filling in, so I don't have to go live on Sundays. And I appreciate you offering it to me. That means the world to me. Um, but
Well,
I'm
I
not.
knew you go to church, and Sunday nights is really kind of interfering with that some. And I would rather you be able to go to church, enjoy your family time on Sundays, and then take over this. And I might or might not. I mean, I don't know. We'll see what life has to hold. The new doors are going to be open every day, and I got to walk through them. But right now, I've got to take care of me, my family, and get things done. It ain't that y'all hadn't been family. You have. I've talked to many of you on the phones late at night. K&B, we just talked about long talks with you. And I'm going to miss it. But y'all always going to be there, guys and gals. I'll still pop up live. I'll still drag the boat to the lake and jump on live with you. Hopefully I can get back to doing some fishing. I'm getting caught up on a lot of things. So I'm not gone completely, guys. I just need a break.
If you ever want to come on, you just call me up and say, hey, you got anything going on next Wednesday or whatever. It's your spot. Whenever I know you're gonna come back because I'm telling you, once you take that break and you relax and you kind of get that burnout gone. I mean, I don't know how Lyle does it. I mean, I really don't. What's it been going for like 7 years now? 8
Going
years.
on 8 years. Yep.
I mean, and he's a machine.
Every week.
And I don't know how he does it because I started getting burnout after 2 years, and so I understand what you're going through right now, and I don't think I could have understood it unless I just went through it. And
Right.
so I know you'll be back, and then you'll be back on once again Wednesday nights at 8 p.m.
Well, I mean, I've had a blast, and having you and K&B and all of you on here, it's been a blast, and I've learned a lot from each and every one of you, and I hope a lot of you took something from me out there in your world of catfishing that it will go a long ways to help others, and that's the only thing that I hope that I can live and not live, but say that I left to this catfish community is that there's some stuff to pass along that will help others. Get out there, guys, support other people, support your community, get out there and do a lot of work. Me and Kevin talked about this earlier. Go to work in your community, not just with other fishermen, but other people. There's people in need every day, or people that just need a positive influence in their life. And Kevin, I know you've been a positive influence on quite a few people right now. And I'm not mentioning no names, but I appreciate what you're doing for that person. And keep doing what you're doing because it don't go unnoticed. Guys and gals, I thank you. I love you. Love being here with you. And we're going to say goodnight. God bless you. God bless your families. And I'll still pop in and do some lives. So y'all take care and good night.
Night, everybody.
You want to tell them anything for next week?
I want to pray for you.
That's what I want to do.
Heavenly Father, we want to lift up our brother James Smith, Patriot Catfishers of America. Lord, he's taking a break, as you just heard, and as you've known for a while. I'm sure he's spoken to you about this several times. And Lord, we just want to thank him and thank you for sharing him with us for this time he's been here. And Lord, just bless him because he's stepping down for a little while for the right reasons, family and God. And Lord, what other reason is there to not do it? And he's honoring you when he's doing that because you told us you are first, family is next, and all other things should fall to the wayside if those things aren't number one, number two. So I just want to pray for him. I want to pray for his business that it would grow, his float business, Lord, that you would send him customers and just bless him with that. I pray that you would bless him and his beautiful bride, that they would get to spend a lot more time together, that he would get to fish and finish up projects around the house, get gold mining again. And Lord, when he's ready to come back, just speak to him so he knows that it's you talking to him. And that way he can come back if he wants and honor you again by teaching and inspiring people like myself and others in chat to fish and be responsible and to learn the tools of the trade. We thank you for everything that you've done for us, and we give you all the glory and honor. It's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. So let it be. Thank you, Kevin.
Yes, sir.
Guys and gals. Kevin will be with you next week. Palmetto Cats. Thank you, Kevin.
Yes, sir.